from the podium, the latest scuttle from the players.
On your proud home of 49ers football. Touchdown! KNBR, the sports leader. Your faithful fix with your host Larry Krueger begins now.
And we're off and running. Welcome to 49er Forecast. Larry Krueger with you on this beautiful Saturday, the first Saturday in September. Kids are back in school. High school football's rolling. Congrats to my son's JV Northgate squad beating Camp Lindo yesterday, and a real good one. 14-13 out here in the creek. Very, very good win for Northgate. They're off to a 2-0 start. They are my favorite football team to watch right now, the Northgate JV football squad. So congratulations to them. Didn't want to make sure I missed that. We got a fantastic hour for you, as we always do. And if you're hearing me for the first time on a Saturday going, what is this? What show is this? Is Krug in the studio? Is he not? Is this syndication? Is this KNBR? No, this is a KNBR live local show. And we're going to be with you. This is the first Saturday of the year. You hear me, on all the different shows. You hear me on the pregame and postgame. And you're also hearing me, if you haven't, check out Niners Nightly, which is a Monday through Friday show from 6 to 7 p.m. on The Sports Leader. And we talk Niners. I go down and cover the Niners in the daytime and then hustle back and do that show from 6 to 7. And it's been sporadic thus far because of Giants baseball. So when the Giants are on, it's on the KNBR YouTube channel. And when the Giants aren't on, it's on the radio. So we've been on the YouTube quite often because Giants season, and of course Giants season still. Hey, good luck for the Giants. Could you imagine? Could they somehow make it to the wild card? Heck, the division race is still in play. It's actually amazing watching the Giants get red hot here at the end, and I hope they get in. It would be incredible. Oh my God, could you imagine how incredible that would be if we got playoff baseball in 2025. I'm not banking on it, but every day it gets a little bit more realistic. So the Giants, just keep your head down, keep winning. But when Giants season does indeed end, you'll hear Niners Nightly on the radio strictly from 6 to 7 p.m. So look forward to that. And then during football season, the regular season, which obviously starts tomorrow at Lumen Field, and we'll have all of it for you right here on, actually we'll have it on 810 KSFO for the broadcast. But on Saturdays before every regular season game, except for next week, you'll hear me in this time slot. I believe the time slot could move around a little bit, but it's usually going to be between 10 and 11. So we're having this 49er forecast show on Saturdays. And it's a great hour. It gives us an hour to just look ahead to the matchup the next day and talk a lot of Niners and take some of your calls. So 808 KNBR is the phone number. I really have two questions for you if you're driving around, if you want to jump in on the conversation. And we have time. We can take some of your calls if you want. Maybe the most amazing stat of all, and I'm going to ask Dave Softy Mahler is going to join us in a bit as well, near the bottom of the hour from KJR in Seattle. The great Dave Softy Mahler. Me and Gary used to have so much fun with Softy. Anyway, Softy was a big mouth know-it-all like us, but a Seattle version of us. I'm going to ask him the question that I'm going to ask you right now. Why are the 49er fans so dominant? I mean, why? I'd like to know. Does anybody have an actual theory? The Niners' heyday was the 80s. The Niners' best run ever probably came in the late 80s and early 90s. Post volume 86 draft, which, by the way, the Niners had their own volume draft this year. So it'll be interesting to chart where they go for the next 5 years. But 85, the Niners added Rice. 86, they had the volume draft, 8 starters, and they were great. 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94. I mean, those teams were fueled by those players, and they were great. But the Niners were more dominant then than they are now. But the Niner fan is more dominant now than any of those Niner fans in the 80s. The Niner fan in 2025 is a more dominant fan than the Niners of the 90s. The guys who rooted for Joe Montana, for whatever, didn't bring it the way that the people who root for Brock Purdy bring it. The Steve Young fans didn't bring it like the fans of Demo Lenore and Nick Bosa bring it. The Niner fandom has never traveled better. According to the stats, let me see if I can quote the stat exactly. I want to make sure I get this right. Okay, let me see here. Vivint stats, is that it? Let me see. Let me double check it. Yeah, the Vivid Seats fan forecast is projecting 53% of tomorrow's crowd are going to be 49er fans. And there are multiple reports that this is indeed the case. What do you make of that? I mean, what do you make of that? Why are the 49ers, every time they play in Arizona, they own the stadium? When they go to SoFi, they turn it into Levi's South. When they played Dallas in Dallas, they dominated Jerry's World. And you would think, well, you know what? These are fair weather fans in LA, fair weather fans in Arizona. Seattle flies a freaking flag for their fans, the 12s. The Niners ought to do that in week 18, just to absolutely put it in their face. Fly a new 12s red and gold flag in front of their face in week 18, because the Niner fans are the ones that should have their own flag. The Niner fans are more dominant than the Seahawk fans. The Niner fans of 2025 are the most dominant fan base in the Bay Area for sure. One of the most dominant fan bases in the NFL for sure. And maybe the most dominant fan base the 49ers have ever had. I mean, I know we're going to talk about the matchup and the players and this and that, and you guys want to hear about football, but I got to throw that out to you at 808 KNBR. Give me a theory. Give me your theory as to why the 49er fan base travels better than any fan base. It's not just these fair weather places. When the Niners played the Steelers in week 1 at Heinz Field a couple years ago, I'm watching on the TV. I said to my son, I'm like, can you hear that? He's like, what? I'm like, listen, you're hearing this, let's go Niners. Let's go Niners. You're hearing that at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. This is like the hardest of hardcore fans. They're their own dynasty. I mean, it's amazing. I don't know why, but it is absolutely amazing. Now, somebody suggested to me that it has to do with how expensive the real estate is in Northern California. I thought, what? But his theory is that it's so expensive that people that go to high school and college in the Bay Area have to go leave because they can't afford the $2 million to buy a home. And so they leave and they move to Arizona and they move to Southern California, which is maybe a little cheaper in certain areas. They move to Texas. You know, I get these things. You get them on your phone as well. You could buy this house in Texas for $300,000. It's like, yeah, but I got to live in freaking Round Rock. It'd be awesome if I didn't have to walk out my door and I was in Frisco, not San Francisco, but Frisco, Texas. It would be awesome if my awesome $600,000 mansion wasn't in Odessa. Sorry, by the way, if you're from Odessa. You know, I wouldn't mind a sweet 3,800 square foot home. I just don't want it to be in Katy, Texas. Sorry, Eric Heitman, pride of Katy, Texas. But you get the picture. For some reason, Niner fans travel, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Or maybe it's just you stack iconic Niner 80, the Niners were an iconic team in the 80s. You stack that on top of what Steve Young did in the 90s. Now they're more of an iconic team. And then you bring in Harbaugh, and you have another run where you get close to the Super Bowl. Oh, should have handed it to Frank Gore, Harbs. Should have handed it to Frank Gore, offensive genius, not LaMichael James. Shouldn't have had Colin Kaepernick, who threw with about as much touch as my sister. Maybe you shouldn't have him throwing fades to Crabtree. As you guys can see, I'm over it. I'm clearly over, and that was only 3 Super Bowls ago, 3 Super Bowl losses ago. But, I mean, what is the reason? Why are the Niner fans more dominant? Is it possible it's just that the 80s Niners, you stack that on top of the 90s Niners, you stack that on top of the Harbaugh Niners, and you stack that on top of the Shanahan Niners, and now the Niners just have generations of iconic fans? Is that it? Is it the star mentality that they've taken with this roster where the Niners have 5 or 6 of the greatest stars in the league? I don't know. But we can definitely take some of your calls at 808 KNBR if you have a theory as to why the Niners are so dominant. All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick timeout. I'm going to come back and get you set up for the game. We're going to peruse the depth chart for a few minutes, and then we're going to talk a little bit with Dave Softy Mahler and get the Seahawks side of things. If you want to chime in, feel free. 808 KNBR, the number on the Sports Leader.
go empty here. Sawbird is right, 3 are left, including Ayuk out left. Throw over the middle, and it's caught by George Kittle. Touchdown! San Francisco!
Kittle in the middle with an easy little slant route. And again, they're playing man coverage, but they're playing it off.
Faithful, time to make some Niners noise. 49ers Forecast with Larry Krueger now continues on your proud home of 49ers football. KNBR, the sports leader.
Man, I'm getting chills listening to the best broadcast team in the NFL. Greg Papa and Tim Ryan. And, of course, Greg is at home, resting, getting healthy. We love you, brother. We're dedicating this year to you. And we're going to work tirelessly to try to be maybe 10% as good as you are. And I mean that through my heart of hearts. So, Greg, we love you, brother, and we're dedicating this year to you. And hopefully you're enjoying some of our coverage. All right, let's hit the phone line. Scarecrow's hanging out in Sacramento, and he's on the Yuma guest line. Or he's on the it's not the Yuma. Oh, it is Uma. Okay, there we go.
Well,
Uma,
they travel.
Uma
They
guest
travel.
line. What's up, Scarecrow?
Not so much. 49er fans travel really well because the 49ers are Northern California. Back when also you had Frankie Albert, you had Gordy Solta, you had Hugh McElhaney, Matt Hazeltine, all those guys. They've always been Northern California back when they were the All-American Conference. It's the same reason why the Raider fans are as loyal as they were. It took 2 moves to break that. And I go back to when the Raiders' colors were gold and black. But the fact of the matter is, pardon me?
I said you are old school if you're going back that far.
Yeah. The point being, they were born in the Bay Area. They are the Bay Area. They are Northern California, and they go back generations. And
you got a thought on?
I mean,
but I mean, why is it more recently though?
I think it's just an evolution. They haven't moved. They've been there. You know, it grows. It's why Green Bay Packer fans are Green Bay Packer fans. Steeler fans are Steeler fans. One of the unfortunate things about, franchises moving is it breaks that bond.
It is amazing. People are enjoying more travel around their favorite teams than ever before. You see it in college football. You see it in pro football. But, man, the Niners right now are traveling, I would say, as well as any team in pro football. I mean, the Cowboys, when the Niners play the Cowboys, Cowboy fans, proliferate the stadium, and they are annoying. Other than the Cowboys, I can't think of a fan base that really travels that great. Detroit for the NFC title game because they thought they were coming to a freaking coronation instead of a Dan Campbell gag job. They thought they were coming to just, own the moment. So that game, there were tons of Lions fans, and that was probably the most road fans I think I've ever seen at Levi's, outside of the Cowboys. But man, the Niners do it everywhere. They do it absolutely everywhere. Scarecrow, have a great day. Let me take one more here. We've got a Mark in the city. Mark, you're on KNBR.
Yeah, Larry, I wanted to talk about Brock Purdy.
Let's do it.
And to me, if you talk about Joe Montana and his physical skills, they would be just like Brock. But the two things that they have is they've got it upstairs, they command the huddle, and the team knows they can win when they have him at quarterback. And I think when people talk about Brock, they really don't look at all the intangibles that he brings.
He's a great player. I mean, I know a lot of people be like, pump the brakes, Krug. He's a good player. Okay, fine. He's a good player. But the guys believe in him. The one thing about being the quarterback is you got to be the hardest working guy on the team, and he is. You got to be the most passionate player on the team, and he is. You got to be the guy that doesn't say, guys, you guys need to do this. You say, we need to do this, and that's the kind of leader he is. They believe in him. The organization believes in him. The players believe in him. So, I mean, is he the biggest guy? No. But you know what? He's He's an unbelievably difficult guy to sack because of his ability to escape. He plays the game on time with accuracy. His post snap. I mean, listening to Greg Cosell just absolutely bury Colin Cowherd when Cowherd was trying to bury Purdy, and Greg's like, "Hey man, I've watched all the film. Post snap, this guy's a smooth operator, as good as any in the sport." And just watching Cowherd sit there go, "Oh, blah 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 blah." Oh, somebody who knows way more about this is telling me something I don't want to hear. But no, Brock. I mean, even last year, Brock tried to do too much. There was too much on his shoulders. But look at the 49ers without Brock. Just since Brock's been here, look at what happened to them when he went out in the Philly NFC title game, and look at what the Niners looked like without Brock Purdy. I mean, that tells you more than anything about his greatness. And then this ramp up period. Look how many guys that take some years to adjust to the NFL. This guy stepped in week 13 after not playing for 2 months and immediately was better than Jimmy Garoppolo. And I remember that moment in the Miami game. I was sitting in the press box. I walked from the back of the press box, and I didn't see Jimmy get taken down. And somebody said, "Hey, Krueger, your guy's going in," because they knew I was a Purdy fan. And I looked down at the field. I see Purdy going in, and I said pretty loudly, actually, in the press box, you were supposed to keep it down, but I was a little unprofessional. I said, the 49ers just got a whole lot better at quarterback. And there's like 5 or 6 people turned around and shot me the dirtiest look. Like, you just ripped James Garoppolo. It's like, bro, you have no idea what you're talking about. This guy's worlds better than that guy. And I've been watching it all summer. So, and then to see it come to fruition instantly, not like eventually, instantly, he was better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Purdy's first start, he beat Tom Brady 35-7. So anyway, I think Brock's going to take a major step up. I think the players to watch in this game are Upton Stout on defense because he's got to stop the run and he's got to stop Cooper Kupp out of the slot. And Ricky Pearsall is the key guy on offense for the 49ers. It's time for Ricky to shine, and I think he knows it. And I expect he will do exactly that. I like the 49ers to win this thing 20-17. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Let's talk more about the matchup coming up next. Dave Softy Mahler's in the house on the Sports Leader.
faithful. Larry Krueger's rocking the red and gold as 49ers forecast continues on KNBR, the sports leader. Sports leader.
All right, welcome back to 49er Forecast. Larry Krueger with you on this Saturday as we get you ready for the Niners and the Seahawks coming up tomorrow from Lumen Field. And who better to talk about it than our buddy Dave Softy Mahler from KJR Radio. And Gary's driving around listening right now. Gary and I had some amazing segments with Softy through the years, including Radio Row at the Super Bowl. We took a picture. Softy, good to see you. Good to hear you, man. How are you?
How's old Gary doing? Is he wearing diapers yet? Is he in the old folks home yet? How's he doing?
He is retired and spending time with his beautiful family and enjoying life, I'm sure.
Good for him. We miss him, man. We miss him for sure. It's not, you know what? It's fun, you and me talking. Obviously, we have some laughs. We have a good time, but we took it to a whole new level when you and Radnich were together, man. So maybe we should do like a little retro segment, the three of us, one of these days, and get together again, huh?
Maybe the end of the year, Niners Seahawks. We can we dust off Gary and see if we get him in here for a segment. That would be awesome. That would be amazing. The audience would love that. So what kind of summer's it been for the Hawks? Tell us about it.
I think it's been a pretty good summer. It's been kind of boring, to be totally honest with you.
Really?
I mean, this has been one of the more uneventful training camp preseasons I think the Hawks have had in a long time. I think that's kind of a good thing, right? There's no real drama, you know? I mean, you guys had some drama with some wide receivers and contracts and things like that down there in the Bay Area, and we've had really none of that. I mean, there's been no major controversy at all coming out of Seahawks camp, which sucks for radio, right? It's been boring as hell for us on the air in Seattle. And, you know, you got a head coach and Mike McDonald who, you know, look, we love him as a guy. We think he's going to be a very good coach for the Hawks, a great defensive mind, but he's got the personality of this microphone that I'm talking on right now. There's just nothing there with him whatsoever, man. I mean, honestly, Larry, we kind of stopped playing some of his press conferences because there really is never anything there to even really dive into. So we just said the hell with it. So it's been real boring. I think that's kind of been a little bit of a microcosm of what the season's going to be all about for the Seahawks, to be totally honest with you. I think we're going to see a team that if you're a betting man, you should play the under in every single game they play. They're going to try and do what Pete Carroll tried to do for all those years in Seattle, run the ball and play great defense, right? You know, they went out and they spent some money on the offensive line with their draft capital, with Gray Zabel as the highest drafted guard since Steve Hutchinson way back in, the early 2000s. They went out and got, obviously, a new quarterback in Sam Darnold. They don't have as much at wide receiver as they used to have. They got kind of more of a running guy at coordinator in Clint Kubiak, who you guys had down there, obviously, as a coach in San Francisco for a while. So I think you'll see this football team get back to their roots, which is running the ball and playing great defense, and we'll see if it works.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of change there for sure, and you guys get Sam Darnold. When you first heard that they were going this route, and they're going to say goodbye to Geno and go after Darnold,
right?
Some people are like, man, they've downgraded. I don't look at it that way. I kind of think that, they had surfed the Geno wave as far as they could, and I think Darnold has more upside, and Darnold's younger. I think Darnold represents potential growth, but there's other people that are like, no, the Hawks blew it. They took a step back at the quarterback spot. What was your take initially? Has it changed since you've seen Sam this summer?
Well, we only saw Sam play one drive in the preseason, right? So I don't know what anybody could have possibly seen that's made them change their mind about Sam Darnold in the preseason. But I'm with you. I mean, I see a guy that was much better in the red zone a year ago than Geno Smith was. I mean, the amount of turnover-worthy plays that Geno Smith had, the amount of turnovers, period, that Geno Smith had, especially inside the 20. I'm hoping those get cleaned up a lot this year by Sam Darnold. But I'm also not expecting Sam to have the year that he had a year ago either for Minnesota. You can't just ignore the guy's first 5-6 years, whatever it was, in the NFL. He had a passer rating in the mid-70s and then pops for over 100 for 1 year with Minnesota. Plays a bunch of games at home in the friendly confines of U.S. Bank Stadium on a playoff team with pretty damn good talent around him. He fell apart in the last couple games of the year, obviously, but look, I mean, he's going to be asked to carry his, the load in Seattle, right? I mean, his deep balls were very good a year ago. Do they have the personnel to give him the protection, get downfield the way that those Viking wide receivers did last year? I think that's a question that remains to be seen because let's face it, man, the big burner they had in DK Metcalf is gone in Pittsburgh, and they've replaced him with typically, well, really just two slot guys in Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who they signed over the offseason, couldn't even make it to week one. And then he ends up with you guys, down there with the Niners, getting the Seahawks table scraps like you always do for crying out loud, right? So I don't know. I mean, to me, in this business, everybody wants to sit here and say, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And I know this and you know that. I don't know jack squat about this offense. Honestly, they've never played together, Larry. I have no idea if Clint Kubiak knows what he's doing. If Clint Kubiak knows what he's doing as an offensive coordinator, then why isn't he a head coach already? Why has he been on 5 teams in 5 years if Clint Kubiak is some wonder kid who knows what he's doing when it comes to offense? I will tell you this. We talked about Mike McDonald's personality. Clint Kubiak has zero. I mean, he's got none. I mean, my God, talking to that guy when he came to Seattle, I'm like, holy cow, whatever personality trait hit the Kubiak family just skipped right over that dude because he has got zero going on behind the wheel. So I don't know if he's got, that it factor to be a head coach in the NFL, that personality, commanding a room the way you need from head coaches in the NFL. But can he run an offense? Well, we're going to find out pretty fast, man.
He's not the most exciting orator. I agree with you, but let's go back to the brass tacks on this thing, which is
yes.
You guys last year were 28th in the NFL running the ball. Nobody ran it less. Nobody ran it less effectively.
Right.
You needed to make a change. You bring in Kubiak.
Right.
I've watched the preseason games for you guys. Which I don't normally do, but you're the one team the Niners were playing in week 1. So I'm like, you know what? I'll check them out. I've got the NFL Plus, and I can do it in like 25 minutes.
Oh.
You know what? You guys are running the heck out of the football. 5 yards a carry in all 3 games. You gashed the Chiefs for like over 250 yards. So, Dave, you got to like what you're seeing in this run game. Is the preseason absolutely just cannot be analyzed, or do you think they carry some momentum out of it?
I think you can analyze it from a standpoint of philosophy, but I don't think you can analyze it from a standpoint of performance. I mean, I take nothing from preseason football. Like a lot of those numbers that you're talking about from the running game, some of those numbers were provided by Damian Martinez, who's on the practice squad now, right? Like he's not even a part of the team, right? So you're talking about guys that aren't even a part of the team versus and playing against other guys who are working at Arby's, for God's sakes now, right? So I don't take anything as far as performance or stats or numbers, but no question the philosophy of wanting to run the ball more is absolutely accurate because that's why they fired Ryan Grubb and that's why they went out and they got Clint Kubiak because they want to run the ball more. I mean, they went out and they spent their first-round draft pick, again on a guard and Gray Zabel. They got a brand new starting center, got a brand new starting. Well, not really brand new. Bradford was here, but he's now your starting right guard. He was a backup a year ago. They just gave Abe Lucas today. The third-year player out of Washington State, or fourth-year player now, out of Washington State, an extension. So he's locked up. Charles Cross, is got the fifth-year option. So the offensive line looks like it's starting to calm down a little bit. It's been a major issue, Larry, up in Seattle. You pull 100 Seahawks fans in the last 5 years and you ask them what the problem is with the football team, 99 of them will say it's the offensive line. The offensive line stinks. The offensive line's mucking everything up. And they did it a year ago. So do they have the right guys on the offensive line? We're going to find out starting obviously tomorrow. I do wonder about that because Jalen Sundell is the new starting center. He went to North Dakota with Gray Zabel. They got 2 guys now, the Bison do, starting on the Seahawks offensive line. North Dakota's put a lot of guys, by the way, into the NFL as offensive linemen. They're kind of a factory down there in FCS. But Jalen Sundell was on the roster a year ago. and he couldn't beat out Olu Oluwatimi, and he couldn't beat out Connor Williams, who ended up retiring halfway through the year after they signed him as a free agent from Miami. Anthony Bradford is the new starting right guard. He was a backup a year ago who couldn't beat out Satoa Lamea, who's now a backup on this football team. So really all they've done at a couple of offensive line spots is just elevate dudes that were backups a year ago to starting spots this year. So I'm a little bit worried that at least at center and right guard, Larry, that they're just going to be kind of continuously spinning that wheel, robbing Peter to pay Paul, until they either A, go out and spend some serious draft capital, or B, spend some money on those spots.
Well, I mean, it's only, you can only invest so much draft capital in one position. They've already got a marquee, premier round one left side.
Two first rounders at left tackle and left guard. Right.
Yeah. And Zabel to me, I mean, what I've seen of clips of him this summer, now granted it's preseason, he looks like a 10-year starter.
He got, if you watch the preseason, his very first play of the preseason against the Raiders, and I forget the defensive tackle's name for the Raiders, so forgive me. The guy had been around for 8 or 9 years. He put him on his ass on the very first play of his NFL career in the preseason. It was almost like a welcome to the NFL, Rook. And then from that point on, he was fine, right? From that point on, I don't remember hearing Gray Zabel's name called one time. So I think a lot of people are fired up for him. Look, I can't sit around here as a Seahawks fan and spend too much time being concerned about Gray Zabel. He was the 17th pick in the draft, for crying out loud. He was a first rounder, highest drafted guard since Steve Hutchinson. If I can't count on him to pan out, then what the hell can I count on, right? So I am absolutely counting on Gray Zabel to be a star for a long time.
Is the Walker Charbonnet thing, what's the split? Is it like 90-10 Walker? Is it 50-50? I mean, what kind of run does Charbonnet get in this offense?
Yeah, I mean, Charbonnet came on strong last year because Kenny Walker couldn't stay healthy. So I think if Kenny Walker's healthy, it's still his show. I would say it's probably an 85-15 split between Kenny Walker and Zach Charbonnet, but they got to manage Kenny Walker's snaps, Larry. The guy just has not been able to stay healthy. He just cannot get through a season without getting dinged up. And this is a huge year for him, dude. Giant year. It's his last year. He's going into a free agent season, just like Abe Lucas was. The Seahawks already rewarded him. I don't know if they're going to reward Kenny Walker, man. I mean, spending money on running backs in the NFL sometimes feels like a big waste. I'd rather go out and spend the money on my offensive line, to be totally honest with you, and then just find whoever to run the ball. If you've got a special talent like you guys do in Christian McCaffrey, that's a different animal, right? Because McCaffrey touches the ball like 30 times a game, for crying out loud, catches, runs, the whole thing. So Kenny Walker can be that guy because he does catch and run, and he's very versatile. He just can't freaking stay healthy. So I think you'll see them manage his snaps early in the year. He was already banged up during training camp. Didn't play a lot in the preseason, but from what I saw from Zach Charbonnet, I was actually pretty surprised, man. I saw him run the ball a year ago. I'm thinking, damn, where did that come from? So he looked like a totally different running back a year ago versus when he first showed up here. So I like their depth, but again, like anything, they got to stay healthy.
The matchup I'm looking for tomorrow is the Niners have a rookie slot guy in Upton Stout, and he's going up against one of the best of all time in Cooper Kupp. How's Kupp look this summer? How is he done, or is he was he just taking a nap there at the end in LA?
Well, just look at his numbers. Look at his numbers when he's healthy, right? I mean, same thing with Kenny Walker. I mean, maybe even more so for Cooper Kupp than Kenny Walker. But I'm looking at Cooper Kupp's numbers the last 3 years. He's only played in 31, 32 games. But I mean, the guy's got 17 touchdowns. He's got, 2,000 yards receiving. In those games, he's got 190 catches. I mean, when he's healthy, he's fine, right? There's no problem with Cooper Kupp's ability as a pass catcher or a route runner. I mean, you know this, that Cooper Kupp might be one of the best route runners we've ever seen out of the slot in the NFL, right? I mean, he's unbelievable. The problem is for the Seahawks is that they're redundant with him and Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, look at how many snaps in the slot Cooper Kupp and JSN took a year ago. I think they were both in the top 5 at their position for receivers with 75 targets or more. They were both up there in the top 5 of slots in or snaps in the slot a year ago. So I don't know if they have a true outside threat on this football team, Larry. Don't know if they have a true X receiver on this football team. The rookie Torrey Horton from Nevada is going to get the first crack at that, but he's not DK Metcalf. He's 6'1". He's not 6'4", 235 pounds. So I think there's a lot of redundancy with the wide receivers, but I think you're right for the game this weekend. Going after that Niner secondary is absolutely going to be something you'll see the Hawks try and do. I just don't know if you'll see much of it on the outside versus the inside. I'm very curious to see how many times they even throw to the outside in this game tomorrow.
Schneider, I think, is one of the better GMs going, and he always seems like he's replenished this team on the fly. I mean, it's
right.
He's done a really nice job, I think. Now, there are people that are critical, whatever. What do you think of Arroyo, the Miami tight end? A lot of people at the Senior Bowl said, man, this guy's like a receiver.
Yes.
Is he a big part of what they do?
He's the reason why Noah Fant got released, period. End of story, right? I mean, it's just like Torrey Horton is the reason why Marquez Valdez-Scantling got cut, and Elijah Arroyo is the reason why Noah Fant got let go. They had to upgrade that spot anyway, and they went out and got Arroyo out of Miami. And if you just watch him play college football and did not know he was a tight end, I think you would think he's a wide receiver, right? I mean, that's how he plays. He runs routes like a wide receiver. He catches like a wide receiver, but he can also block, right? I mean, he is an unbelievable specimen. Just standing next to him, Larry, I've never really imagined what you look like with your shirt off, but I would assume it's the exact opposite. Don't do that. The exact opposite of what Elijah Arroyo looks like. The guy is a freaking stud. So, I mean, he's your number one tight end, dude. The guy's never caught a pass in the NFL, and they are counting on him to be their number one tight end from the start. So there is a lot of hype around here for the kid from Miami.
Oh, he's got a lot of talent. I took a late flyer on him in my fantasy team. I also have JSN because I think Jackson Smith and the Jigba is going to should have a monster year this year. I mean, any way you slice it, he should have a really big.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about JSN. So he should have a big year, but there's also a reason why he won't have a big year. And the answer to both questions is the same answer. It's DK Metcalf. Because last year, Jackson Smith and Jigba had DK Metcalf playing on the outside, sucking all that attention off of him, and now DK's gone, right? So if teams know they can play man on the outside against Torrey Horton in single coverage with Torrey Horton and slide that safety into the box to watch Cooper Kupp and to watch Jackson Smith and Jigba, there might be a lot more attention on those guys, Larry, seriously. I mean, JSN might be getting a lot more attention this year than he did a year ago if they can't find a way to get some threat on the outside. So that's another curiosity about this Seahawks team.
How about the defense? I mean, McDonald's strength is the D. A lot of people feel like this is by far the best defense, or I shouldn't say by far, because the Rams have a hell of a defense.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people think it's the best defense in the division.
Yep.
They drafted Nick Emanwari, who's just a man-child, in the second round out of South Carolina. How's Emanwari? I mean, I don't think Emanwari. He's not going to break into this secondary with Julian Love and Kobe Bryant and all these guys, right? I mean, he's playing off the bench. How are they going to use the jumbo rookie safety?
Yeah, he's definitely playing. I mean, they didn't take him in the second round with their second pick overall to have him rot and sit on the bench. No, he's going to play, and he's more of a box guy, than he is a cover guy. I mean, think of kind of Cam Chancellor light. I would not put him in the same category as a Cam Chancellor because he's not anywhere near as big as Cam Chancellor was. But this guy's 6'3", 220. He can play the edge. He can play outside linebacker. He can put a hand on the ground. He can play the box. He can play the outside. He can play deep. He can play up top in the line of scrimmage. So you're going to see him moved around all over the place. I don't know, honestly, if the Seahawks have ever had a guy like this on their defense, like Nick Emanwari, who can do all the things that he can do. The question is, what does he do elite? Is he really good at everything, or is he elite at one or two things, right? Like when they had Jamal Adams here, Jamal Adams was good at one thing, and that was blitzing. Right? When you blitz 100 times a year, well, no kidding, you're going to get 10 sacks when you blitz 100 times a year. So I'm curious to see what they do with this guy and how they use him, but he's absolutely going to play. The defense is going to be lights out. They were phenomenal in the second half of the year. They added Nick Emanwari. They went out and got DeMarcus Lawrence from the Cowboys to provide just some depth on the outside. The guy's 32 years old, so they're going to have to limit his snaps as well. The secondary with Julian Love and Tariq Woolen, guys like that back there, looks solid. Ernest Jones, ever since he showed up from the Rams a year ago at the trade deadline, the defense kind of took off. A lot of people actually credit him, by the way, Larry, Ernest Jones, with the defense taking a big step in the right direction. And this is exactly what Mike McDonald's defense did in Baltimore. Go back to his first year as the DC in Baltimore. They stunk for the first half of the year, and then bang, they took off in the second half of the year because this is a complicated system. It's a system that relies on a buttload of communication. Lots of talking, lots of hand signals, lots of communication going back and forth. And it took these guys a couple of months to kind of get that down. And once they did, oh, dude, this thing blew up. So there's two things I feel pretty comfortable saying about this Seahawks football team, Larry. Number one, the defense is going to be really good. And number two, play the under in every game they play starting tomorrow. Every game.
No, I agree with you. And I love the under as well in this game. Why? Because the Niners are going to try to run the ball to protect their young defense. Seahawks, are trying to reestablish the run. Yep. I think this is each team would probably have about 7 possessions in this game, maybe 8.
Right.
And I think this is a shortened game. To me, this is a 20-17, 17-14, 21-17. It's that kind of a game, and it's going to be a battle. It's going to be super, super physical. 2 last thoughts on your way out.
Yep.
One, McDonald.
Yes.
On Christmas night, maybe one of the reasons Schneider and the Seahawks wanted McDonald is he absolutely shut down Brock Purdy and the Niners on Christmas night a few years ago with the Ravens. And he did it, Dave, by this great, unique game plan where he blitzed his off. The Niners were running a lot of condensed formations. He blitzed his slot corner and dropped guys into the middle of the field and just read Purdy's eyes. Mm-hmm. And they got 3 picks, a couple off tip balls, and they won the game going away. What wrinkle? I mean, you've been watching this team, and you know the matchup. What do you think? What's McDonald going to try to do to the Niners tomorrow?
Yeah, well, I think they want to make life a living hell for Brock Purdy. End of story, period, right? I mean, the guy's got a brand new contract. He thinks he's the cock of the walk. You guys think you have a potential Super Bowl caliber quarterback on your hands? At least some people do down there. Some people I know down in your area think the guy's a bum, by the way, and you totally overpaid for him, right? So We're going to find out a lot, I guess, starting tomorrow. But they want to make his life miserable. They're going to come after him. There is no question about that. I mean, Josh Jobe is a new starting corner for these guys who looks phenomenal. Devin Witherspoon, in the nickel is going to be blitzing his brains out this year. So watch out for that as well. And then I just think, again, a guy like Nick Eamon-Warry is going to come in and cause a lot of havoc. The rookie, as you talked about from South Carolina, he's not going to be noticeable maybe at first, but I think as the game goes by, you're going to see Nick Eamon-Warry getting after Brock Purdy a lot and making plays, colliding with running backs at the line of scrimmage. He's number 3. He's wearing Russell Wilson's old number. Looks nothing like Russell Wilson, by the way. He's a much bigger guy than Russell Wilson was. So I would keep an eye out for those 3 guys tomorrow.
Last one, man. The Niners have a couple guys that I know you're really familiar with.
Yes.
I know you do a lot of UW stuff, but
yep.
You're up there in the Pacific Northwest. Jordan James from Oregon, it was the Niners' 5th round pick. Yep. What do you think of him? But the other guy, got to get your thoughts on. The story of Niner camp this summer is Sebastian Valdez.
Yeah,
Valdez, Dave, has been, Seabass. Yep. He's been awesome. He's strong. He's fast. He made the practice squad. I think he might be picked off in a couple weeks by another team. This guy he's been so much better than you would think than an undrafted rookie free agent should be. But what can you tell us about Seabass, and what do you think of Jordan James?
Well, first of all, with Valdez, a.k.a. Seabass, he was an FCS guy 2 years ago, and he transferred to UW. He was playing at Montana State. And so Washington last year had 2 FCS transfers on their starting line. They had a center, D'Angelo Titiali, who came from Portland State, and then Sebastian Valdez, who came from Montana State. And they may have been your best linemen, the 2 of them, last year. Now, maybe that says less about the other stuff around those guys last year on a Husky team that wins 6 and 7. But, Sebastian Valdez is a workhorse. I mean, remember the old cartoon where it's like Fred Flintstone, where he's churning his legs underneath the car? That's what Sebastian Valdez is all about. It's amazing this guy doesn't create holes on the ground. His legs are churning so fast. So, he's going to need some time to get, adjusted to the NFL, but he's got a motor that I think the teammates and the coaches down there are going to absolutely love. And then, for Jordan James, look, man, I'm just trying to honestly think of the list of Oregon running backs that have gone to the NFL. and how many of them have actually popped and had really great careers in the National Football League. Bucky Irving's playing good for Tampa Bay. I know that. But, Jordan James just kind of, to me, feels like a system guy. Honestly, he really does feel like a system guy coming out of Oregon. So if you're pinning your hopes on Jordan James to be the next great running back in Santa Clara, I would keep hoping and praying, man. Go to church, talk to God.
Dave, enjoy the game tomorrow. I'd say good luck, but you know I don't mean it. And,
of course, a big game for week 1, huh? Holy cow.
I think this is one of the better. First of all, anytime the Niners and the Hawks get together, it's a bloodbath. Russell was 17-4.
Yeah.
He owned the Niners.
Right.
Brock Purdy's never lost in Seattle.
Right. Well, he's due then, is what you're telling me, right? He's way overdue. I'm curious to see how many Niner fans show up for this thing, because a major problem the last couple of years in Seattle has been opposing fans showing up to Lumen Field and taking the place over. I don't know if you've had that same issue down there in Santa Clara.
We really have.
Levi's. Yeah, well, we have. We have had that problem, by the way, in Seattle. So I'm curious to see two things about this rivalry. How many Niner fans are there tomorrow? And then when I go back down to Levi's Stadium and go to the men's room in the press box, is there still a sign above the urinal that says don't drink the water out of the urinal? Is that still there?
I don't know. I can neither confirm nor deny.
Why don't you check on that? Because
what happened to the fans there, though? They were 2-3 last year at home. They were 7-1 on the road. Have they lost their home field advantage? Is the 12th man not? Has it kind of lost its luster?
They've been mediocre. They've been a 9-8, 8-9 team. They've been boring. They've been bad. That's what happens down here. We have high standards, unlike you guys. You guys are happy to score a point, for God's sakes. The Seahawks need to win titles and NFC West Division championships and go to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's only been 13 years since their last one, but you get my point that they just kind of got a little kind of spoiled up here. I think, Larry, in Seattle. We'll see. But, clearly people think this team is on the come with this defense and Mike McDonald. We're going to find out tomorrow.
Awesome to see you, man. Good to talk to you. We'll talk to you next down the road. Good luck to you this year. Have a great year. We wish you nothing but success. Thanks for jumping on the leader.
You got it. In the words of Russell Wilson, go Hawks.
Dave Softy Mahler. More straight ahead. It's 49er Forecast on the Sports Leader.
faithful 49ers forecast with Larry Krueger now continues on your proud home of 49ers football. KNBR, the sports leader.
All right, we're coming down the home stretch on 49er Forecast, the first of its kind this year. And join us next Saturday. Well, actually, I should say normally join us on most Saturdays for 49er Forecast. Next Saturday, I'm actually going to be traveling to New Orleans. I'm going to go to New Orleans with my son for Niners Saints. So we're going to go to LSU, Florida next Saturday. So next Saturday, there will be no 49er Forecast, at least not hosted by yours truly. But look for us on Saturdays. We'll be doing an hour, I believe, from 10 to 11 each and every Saturday doing 49er Forecast. Thanks to Dave Softy Mahler. Thanks to Raph for producing. Thanks to all of you for listening. Thanks to the callers who jumped in earlier. I'm back with you tomorrow for pregame. Of course, I'll be with the guys on the pregame and the postgame. Coming up next is The Hits show. You're going to hear Lynch with the morning show, Mayoko with Greg and I believe AD, and then Shanahan with Copes and D-Pop. So the best of is coming up right now. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Go Niners. I'm going to say 21-17. I like the Niners to win. I like the Niners, and I like the under. So enjoy a great Saturday of college football. I got to go watch Cal's great young quarterback play later today. Should be a fantastic Saturday. Wonderful weather. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. We'll see you tomorrow on The Sports Leader.
KNBR, the sports leader.